Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and call to order the August 15th, 2023, 1:07 p.m. Canvassing Board certification meeting for the August 1st, 2023 primary and special election. I am Canvassing Board Member Julie Wise, your King County Director of Elections. And with me, I have Canvassing Board Member Kimberly Frederick, Chief Civil Deputy in the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, and Stephanie Sirkovich, Chief of Staff to the King County Council. We're also joined today by Geraldine Hampton, our King County Elections Ballot Processing Manager. This meeting is being recorded and live streamed via the King County Elections Facebook page, and we're going to upload it to our YouTube channel right after this meeting. Now we are going to hear from Geraldine Hampton with an overview of this election.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. First things first, though, I've got two groups of ballots I want to present to the board for rejection. The first is item E-4000. It's 6,982 mail ballot challenges that we were unable to count due to reasons such as voters forgetting to sign the envelope, signing with a signature that does not match what's on their registration record, or ballots being returned too late.
Kimberly or Stephanie, could I get a motion?
I move that we reject the ballots on that list. And this is second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Our second grouping is E-4001, and it's 580 prior ballot envelopes. These are actual mail ballot packets that we received between the certification of our last election in April and the beginning of this election. And so we do go through and we open all those envelopes to ensure that there's not a current election ballot inside an old envelope, but we were not able to count these 580 ballots from previous elections.
So I make a motion that we reject the ballots on that list.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you for those two decisions. Now I'm going to give you a summary of this election. So we ended up a little bit under our initial projections. We thought we would hit around 35%, and it turned out we only got to 31% for this election. So a little disappointing. It was a countywide election, so that translates to almost 425,000 ballots being returned that we processed. For drop box activity, we had all 76 boxes open this election. The returns from our drop boxes came in at nearly 201,000 ballots, which is a little under half, or 47% of our total returns. No surprise on this next piece of info, the most utilized boxes for this elections were, surprise, surprise, Ballard Library is our top vote getter with over 9,300 ballots. And then Redmond City Hall was second place again with over 6,600 ballots. Over half of our total drop box returns did come in on election day, was 54% that actually we received on August 1st. For our vote center locations, we had locations available in Bellevue, Federal Way, Kenmore, Kent, Renton, and in Seattle. Our Renton location and Bellevue locations were the most busy, most visits from our voters. We ended up registering 73 new voters, made 94 record updates, and issued about 260 ballots to those folks who showed up and needed some services. Challenges. So this election, we ended up with just less than 7,000 mail ballot challenges. Of those challenges, 67% were returned too late. Therefore, we were not able to count them. We have just under 3,000 signature challenges remaining. So this is after voters have responded with the signature resolution form. This is about half of 1% of our total returns. And over half of those voters that initially had a signature challenge did in fact return a signature resolution form that helps us to go forward and count their ballots. For this August election, we did not receive any provisional ballots. for processing. And we couldn't get this election done without a whole bunch of additional help. So we actually hired around 240 additional staff who help us out with things such as answering calls on our phone bank, doing all of our Dropbox daily collections, opening ballots, tabulating ballots, a whole slew of activities. And so our temporary staff are always appreciated. We did have observer activity this election. So I have trained up 10 individuals before we went into the observer, the real processing part of the election. And so we had 45 unique visits during this election cycle. And so we have visitors from both of the major county parties as well as League of Women Voters. Audits. Every single election, we conduct a couple post-election audits. One of them is what we call a batch audit. This is a process where we randomly select 6 batches of ballots, comes to about 1,500 ballots, and we do a hand count of a randomly selected contest. We then compare those hand count numbers to the tally that came directly from our tabulation system. Again, we do this to prove that the votes are getting counted accurately as we expect them to be. So Thursday of election week, we audited the Port of Seattle Commissioner position number 1 contest, and hooray, we found 0 discrepancies. And then our second audit that we did is a risk limiting audit. So this election in August was our 6th risk limiting audit. This audit was conducted on Friday, August 11th, and again was in addition to the batch audit that I just described. A risk limiting audit is another type of post-election review. It takes a random sample of individual voted ballots, not batches or groups of ballots, and compares each vote on the marked ballot against the tabulated votes directly out of the tabulation system. The purpose of this type of audit is to provide statistical confidence that the winner is really the winner. So for this risk limiting audit, we worked on King County Proposition number 1, that contest, and we found 0 discrepancies again. As of now, in official certification, we are reconciled, and I'm very happy to say we have no discrepancies to report. This is actually our 30th election in a row without having any discrepancies. So that's very exciting. But before we look ahead, we're not quite done. We do have a recount that we'll be processing. So we currently, at the time of certification now, have 1 contest requiring a mandatory machine recount. So for a contest to find itself in mandatory machine recount range, it's actually triggered when there's a difference of less than 2,000 votes between the candidates and also less than 0.5% of the total number of votes cast for both of the candidates. So that's where we are. If a contest ends up with less than 150 votes apart and also less than 0.25% of the total number of votes cast for both candidates, then we would be in a hand count situation where we would open all the boxes and do a hand tally. There is a deadline to request a recount. If people wanted to request one, that's this Thursday, August 17th. So the contest that's in mandatory recount range is Enumclaw School District number 216 on Director District number 4. And so it's between the 2nd and 3rd place vote getters because the top 2 move on to the general. So for this instance, it's Lori Michan and Tanya Pettit are the candidates we'll be doing a recount for. So the total votes for these 2 candidates is 2,998. The total ballots we'll be reviewing, total ballots counted in that contest are 6,130. So the activities for recount is going to happen this Friday, the 18th. We're going to do it first thing in the morning, and then we're going to turn around and certify early on Tuesday morning. In a machine recount, it's important to know what we're doing. So a machine recount, it's an activity where we are visually inspecting all of the undervotes. We do this work by taking a look at the digitally scanned images in the tabulation system. So we're looking at undervotes here. So an undervote is when a voter does not mark either any selection in a contest. And the purpose here is to review all of the undervotes and ensure that nothing got missed that was supposed to be an actual vote for one of the candidates. Also important to note, in a recount situation, we're not re-evaluating questions of voter intent. So that's not part of the recount. You're not redeciding voter intent. You're actually counting the votes as they were decided during the certification time period. Notifications are going to go out to the candidates and the parties later this afternoon. They'll be able to come and observe the process. And so that's our recount situation for now. And now looking ahead, we do have a general election right around the corner. So the general election is November 7th. And we have our first scheduled canvas board meeting on November 15th at 1:30 p.m. So that's my summary of election activities this round. And that's all I have for the board.
Thank you so much, Geraldine. Appreciate you and your service to the King County Canvassing Board, and of course to the amazing King County elections staff that made this primary such a success. It was a hard election for the team, and really appreciate everyone's continued dedication and determination around this election. So congratulations to the entire elections team. With that, we're going to conclude with some oaths and certifications. We'll go ahead and we'll start with my oath of authenticity.
Okay, Julie. So now I'm going to read the oath of authenticity. It reads, I solemnly swear that the unofficial returns and supporting documentation of the primary and special election held on August 1st, 2023 in King County, state of Washington are true and correct.
I do.
Thank you.
Our next item is the certification of the canvassing board, and it reads, the undersigned officers designated by law as constituting the canvassing board for the County of King, state of Washington, hereby certify that this is a full, true, and correct copy of the abstract of votes, including the number of registered eligible voters, cumulative results, precinct results, and report of votes cast at the primary and special election held on August 1st, 2023 in King County, state of Washington.
I do.
I do. Thank you all so much. We will get these documents signed and into the official record. Appreciate the canvassing board's time and determination with voter intent. And of course, Geraldine and the entire elections team, thank you so much. The board has certified this election, and voters remember to vote in this general election and to sign up for ballot alerts on our website as well. Always here and happy to answer any questions voters have at 296-VOTE. Any further business for today? This August 15th, 2023 certification meeting is adjourned at 1:20 p.m. Thank you.